Greetings, brothers and sisters of the left-hand path. Welcome to the Infernal Order of Pluto Sophia. I am your host for today's video, Dr. Murphy, and today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. The thing about power is that it's not always true power, like in the sense that it's something you possess, especially with our modern civilization that is built upon these invisible systems, political systems, governments, laws. Those in possession of power in such a modern system as this only have power that is lent to them. But it's actually not anything tangible, physical, or concrete. A king is an individual who is not necessarily more powerful than the members of that kingdom. Their power is only held up by the belief of those around them, the belief systems, the laws they have set in place. But as we've seen throughout history, at any moment, that king can be usurped. There could be a coup d'etat, there could be a revolution, they could be taken out, easily replaced. This happens all the time. Although it seems like someone like a king has such grand power and such majesty, they don't actually possess real power. Kings, leaders, presidents, politicians, they only have power that is based upon something imaginary, like an idea, like an institution or a government. That power is only maintained through others agreeing upon the system that has been put into place. Instead of, if you want to take that power or take out that power, you don't necessarily need to go directly for the leader or these leaders. Really, what you need to go after is the system that their power is built upon. Because if you collapse the system, then the power collapses automatically, because actually there was no real power there. There is a great Earl of Hell that is written about. He appears as a crow, and it is said that he steals from kings. He destroys cities, and yet paradoxically, he has the power to reconcile enemies. This demon's name is Raum. And this arena of the institution, whether it's a religion or a government, this is his playground. This is what he understands. This is what he knows how to manipulate. And he certainly does that to steal power. And interestingly, Raum takes power stealthily and secretly. Massive objects in the physical world, like planets and stars, hold themselves together, of course, but they can't do it by themselves. Actually, when we see something with great mass, like a star that is being held together into a spherical shape, or nearly there so, it is actually being held together by a field. Right? So it's not the actual matter itself, it is the field that is supporting the matter into a coherent structure. There's an invisible framework here, even in the physical universe. Throughout the cosmos, you have these invisible frameworks, such as that of the gravitational field, electromagnetic, that is organizing matter into structure. Now, this same thing carries over into our civilization and our human systems. All of these things that are supporting power, they are all invisible, imaginary, really. Governments, institutions, hierarchies, royalty, status, rank, position, they are held together by these psychological fields. This power is all based upon our belief and our perceptions, and the only reason they have legitimacy is because we buy into it. even money. Money is another human-made system that actually has no inherent power. We support it through our imagination and our belief. But it is these invisible imaginary support systems, it is here that Raum enters. Again, this is his playground. This is where Count Raum thrives. So if we look at this psychologically, we can understand that authority is never intrinsic. A king is powerful not because he's necessarily so much physically stronger than others or so much more intelligent, or that he has some kind of supernatural abilities that give him real power, right? That's real power. A king's power is not real. It is lent to him. He is borrowing it from the masses that are perceived to be below him. He's powerful because the people believe he's powerful. And the whole royal system for the kingdom is there to reinforce that belief. All of the politics, the royal histories, the laws, the rituals surrounding the king and all of that, this is all man-made stuff. It comes from the imagination. However, individuals will align themselves through their behavior with these systems accordingly, and that is supporting the power of the king. What the demon Raum would do to steal this power is not to go after the king directly, but to disrupt the whole foundation of the kingdom. So he's going in and disrupting the belief structure that's surrounding the king. When rumors begin to spread about the king's legitimacy, this raises suspicion and doubt about his authority. Then confidence in the king begins to erode, confidence in the system begins to erode, and nothing has changed about the king at all. But the system is degrading, it's losing its coherency, and it can collapse. And that's when you see kings being overthrown, kingdoms falling. This happens all throughout history. It's about faith in the system collapsing. So it's like that field collapses. It's like if the gravitational field would collapse, then the star, the planet, it would become incoherent. It would fall apart immediately. This is Raum's first function. In politics, it's the same thing, right? Raum is destabilizing these political systems. The grimoires tell us that Raum steals from kings and destroys cities. He does this by removing the conditions that allow this power. He's attacking the idea of the institution, the idea of the regime, the belief behind these systems. Kings get their power, politicians get their power from, firstly, the attention of the people, followed by their belief in them, which is followed by their obedience to them. This requires energy in the form of emotional investment and belief in the system. So these are all forms of psychic energy. When Raum is taking down a political system or a kingdom or a king, what he's really doing is extracting psychic energy from these systems. He's not taking literal physical gold. This is just a symbol for energy and power. He's eroding trust and confidence and attacking the legitimacy of the system. And then once these are removed, there's no foundation for this imaginary structure of power to stand on. So this makes sense that Raum appears as a crow. A crow is a very intelligent animal. A crow observes and it waits. Before it attacks, it studies. It makes sure that it understands the system that it is going after. And then it identifies weaknesses in that system, and then it attacks and feeds upon those. When the system is already undergoing the process of failure, when it is already vulnerable to collapse, this is when Raum enters. It's all about strategy and timing. This is why Raum is the crow. The crow is an intelligent animal that is very strategic, very calculating. So the grimoires tell us that Raum knows about the past, present, and future. Rather than trying to analyze what this means mystically, let's consider it this way. Like, if you really study a system and understand in its totality how it works and how it functions, how it maintains its coherence, and you understand then how it can be destroyed, right? So you not only understand how the system was formed, what's happening now with it, but you can predict what will happen in the future with this system and how it can and will fail. Raum is representing this kind of intelligence. It's about pattern recognition with regards to these systems that we build. Now, this brings us to the paradox. If he is all about stealing power from kings, destroying kingdoms, destroying these political systems, why is it that it is said that he reconciles enemies? Well, this is also tied in with this, because just as power is relying upon these imaginary invisible systems, so too a lot of times conflict is relying upon these. Conflict also requires opposition that is occurring within a system. It requires structure. And if you remove that system, then the opposition loses its meaning. The conflict just dissipates of its own accord. With this demon, with Raum, we have a demon who's operating within three realms, that of psychology, politics, and vampirism. With regards to psychology, Raum is targeting our very beliefs, our perceptions, the confidence we have, our obedience to outside forces. He's going after that directly, because if you could just control the psychology of people in a system, then you'll quickly realize that the whole system is psychological, and by extension, sociological. But without the people to support it, it will collapse. And again, this is tied directly to politics. Politics is all about psychology and sociology and human interactive dynamics. Politics is built upon human-made institutions, like mental institutions and systems that are invisible and imaginary. They are just ideas. And ideas can be constructed as well as deconstructed. And with regards to the realm of vampirism, Raum, and he does this secretly and stealthily, he is able to extract psychic energy from these systems. Throughout history, we've seen this. Empires rise, empires fall, leaders come into power, leaders being overthrown. And so you have to understand what you're looking at when you see this. When a leader loses influence and that institution collapses, or some system, or it could be a religion, or some belief system like a philosophy, when that system unravels, you have to ask yourself, what was actually being attacked? What was removing the energy that was keeping this institution alive? A lot of the power, most of the power that humans have and hold in our civilization, the power is all built upon these imaginary fields that we ourselves construct. So when you remove the energy that is keeping that institution alive, because the power is a field, you have to wonder if there was something or someone in the background feeding upon this energy, draining this energy. Perhaps a being like the demon Raum.